the last couple of days, there's been some talk about the decision to bring in Reuben Foster and their investigation of sorts. What did you find out? Because Bruce Allen's not saying a lot. He said a little, I guess, to Lisa Salters from ESPN. Doug Williams said a little, and it's kind of nebulous what kind of Alabama teammates they talked to, if any.
Yeah, so, I mean, we were sitting there watching the Monday night game like everybody else and heard we've been trying to get Bruce on the phone since the signing to explain, the background here of, what the due diligence they did to figure out why they thought this was a worthwhile investment. And on Monday night, Elise Salters reports that Bruce had talked to her and said, we actually did this preliminary investigation. I used to work in Tampa. I got some contacts down there. We talked to our guys, and we got some information that we think shed new light on this whole Foster investigation. So, I mean, we thought, well, geez, I mean, that sounds interesting. We should thought, what is this new information? Who are they talking to down in Tampa that's got all this new intel on the Foster case? So we reached out to the Tampa cops. We also reached out to the California cops that investigated the case out there. And, they said, if they're talking to folks down here, it's not us. And so Tony Wiley with the Redskins got back to us yesterday and said, offered what they, I think of as a bit of clarification that, well, we didn't talk to law enforcement. We just have our own people. And they wouldn't go any further than that. So I guess then the larger question is if they're not talking to law enforcement, who in the world are they talking to who has new information about the Reuben Foster investigation?
Yeah, Will, I was curious about who this network of shadowy people are down in Tampa that both Bruce Allen and Doug Williams, I guess, knew from working down there.
Maybe they talked to the bellhop at the hotel in Tampa.
Do you think it's like a network of like private investigators or maybe retired cops or?
Well, so I mean, it's like many NFL teams have like private investigators on contract relationships that they do, employ to do this kind of, research. But when I talked to the Tampa cops yesterday, they said, look, even if they had one of these people, there's no intel to get here. There are no witnesses of this case. It happened in a hotel room. If they reached out to us, we would have given them the police report. It's a one-page report that just summarizes the allegation. That there's no documents or surveillance footage to get here at this point.
Don't we know, though? I mean, isn't this all known by us? Like Bruce Allen is a piece of human garbage. Dan Snyder's the equivalent. Doug is lovable, and we all like Doug, but, he probably said some things here. They're like North Korea. Everything they say is garbage. We love Brian Lafamine and Steve Ziff, the new sort of marketing guys, but, they have nothing to do with this, I'm sure. Isn't this obvious to all of us? They're North Korea. It's all crap what comes out of there.
There's an interesting I'm not going to comment on your assessments of
well, I nailed it. I know I've nailed it. Go ahead.
It's my colleagues Mark Maskey and Adam Kilgore are working on a story that I think will be out in the next day or two, just about how this is being perceived in the NFL, and I think that's an interesting component because I can't imagine that Bruce Allen's colleagues and in the front offices of the other 31 did all of 72 hours to claim Reuben Foster, and you see how the rest of the league responded when Kareem Hunt went on waivers and he went unclaimed.
Yeah, but I wonder if that would have happened. I wonder if that would have happened if the Redskins hadn't claimed Foster. I don't know. The one thing I will say, and I don't like to defend the Redskins, I really don't, and I think Bruce is the worst person in the country, but the notion of just signing him and then, grabbing him now and then seeing if the charges are dropped or if the story changes and then maybe you got something, I don't have a problem with that. If it all turns out to be true, I assume they'll cut him. So I think they're being a little bit unfairly maligned.
Or if there's a video that surfaces.
Yeah, if a video comes out or turns out that all this stuff is true and he really is an evil human.
Which I assume there's no video if it happened in a hotel room.
Probably not. But let's just say it's all true. I assume they'll cut him.
That would be the assumption, and I think that the pushback would be then, just at least before you make that transaction, that's going to create this PR hit. That's going to that is going to create. Just make a few phone calls. do a little bit of back. Find out. Do you think in a he said she said case? Do you want to invest the organization's resources, on the he side of this? And as far as I can tell, they didn't make those phone calls.
Yeah, they're just liars.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, Reuben Foster, Gruden liked him coming out of college. He's a Bama guy. You know, there's 6, 7 Bama kids on
They
the team.
saw an opportunity to swoop in and maybe grab
They
him.
know he's got upside.
If it all turns out to be bogus.
Yeah, and winning cures all. I mean, that's bottom line. They want to win.
Yeah.
They don't care about the PR hit, obviously.
From the coldest possible analysis, I mean, it is, it could potentially be a good investment on the field.
But he's not even
even
that
if he
good.
gets, well.
Well, what do you know about the investigation? Like, where are they in that process?
I mean, so you got to remember to Tampa police, it's a misdemeanor assault case. And this is like low priority in terms of, the vast number of cases they got to work. And, this is a woman who has, if you were going to go forward and pursue this, in a court of law, this is a woman who has some credibility issues. She recanted previously when she accused Reuben Foster of assaulting her. So it wouldn't be entirely surprising if the criminal case gets dropped, but then that doesn't mean the NFL is going to stop. I mean, you got to remember Ezekiel Elliott was never charged with a crime by when he was accused of assault, but the NFL suspended him for 6 games because the woman participated with the NFL investigation and said, yes, this did happen.
Mm-hmm.
He might not have been arrested for it, but I'm telling you it happened.